Okay, good evening to everyone. Let's start this. So, welcome to the day 5. Kindly give me a confirmation if you guys can hear me. Kindly give me a confirmation if you guys can hear me well. Yes or no. Come on. Awesome. Okay, welcome guys to day 5 and very good evening to all of you. So, yeah, this is Monday, the most hated day of a week, right? So, don't worry, still we have 4 more days to go for the weekend. Okay, so tell me how you guys comment down. How are you guys and how you're doing? How was your Monday? Exhausting, fun? Let's see. How are you guys? Kindly comment, please. Awesome, nice. Okay, great. Okay, somebody has written great. I'm not sure who is this guy. Obviously, Monday is Monday is exhausting, yeah. Right? Monday is depressed. Exactly. Anyone else sick? Yeah, I expected these kind of replies, right? So don't worry, 4 more days to go for the weekend. Okay, perfect, awesome. I'm doing great. I'm doing perfect, and I'm doing awesome in a bad way because it's Monday. Okay, cool. So yeah, welcome to the day 5 of this boot camp. So far we have started out with data science, right? We have understood what is data science, why data science is that much popular nowadays, and so on and so respective of data science, right? And then we have seen the first step in data science, right? Or it's not the first step in the data science actually, but it's the first step for anything that you do in the IT sector, right? Whatsoever you do in the IT sector, if you want to go with coding, if you want to go with software engineering, you want to go with data engineering, any kind of domain, the first step is that you should know about the programming language, because programming language over here is a fuel, right? All the domain over here is your, let's assume that all the domain over here is your some kind of vehicle. Okay, it's some kind of vehicle, right? It could be a car, it could be a bike, and so on and so forth. But in order to use that opportunity and use that domain, you have to have a fuel, right? So programming language is that fuel, right? And we have started out with Python, and we have seen the anatomy of Python, that why Python, what is the history of Python, right? And if we compare Python with different other programming languages based on the data analysis domain or data science domain, how exactly Python is different from others, right? Apart from that, we have also seen some of the interesting fact and some of the business model that we have studied. Apparently, after that, we when we have started out with the coding concept of Python, we have started out with the data types, right? We have started out with data, then we have talked about data types, and then we have talked about the variable to store that, right? And when we have seen that, okay, we have a variable to save us from those resources that the data we're going to repeat over and over again. So to save us from that kind of situation, we have a variable, right? But after that, we have introduced data structures, right? The optimized way or the optimal way of managing the data, organizing the data, arranging the data, right? Because in memory, we have to make sure whenever you do the coding and you're getting a huge data, you have to make sure about the memory as well. Okay. Now we have talked about data. I actually forgot that how many data structure do we have? Can anyone help me out in knowing how many data structure do Python has? Can anyone tell me please? How many data structure do Python has? Can anyone tell me please? Help me out, guys. Thank you so much. It is 4. And apparently, can you guys name that as well? Can you guys please name those data structures, Python data structures for me? Can you guys name those 4 data structures for me? Awesome. It is set, dictionary, your list, and your tuple, right? And we have also seen a lot of differences, and we have talked about some of the minor interview question that has been frequently asked. That is, what is the difference between list and array? What is the difference between a list and your tuple, right? What is the difference between list and set? What is the difference between set and dictionary, right? And we have also talked about the concept of indexing. We have also talked about the concept of slicing, right? So remember that indexing and slicing is very important, guys, right? Though it is very easy concept, but at the same time it is very important, right? Whenever you start with data analysis, right? In data analysis, there are a lot of libraries that you have to work with. You have to work with NumPy, you have to work with Pandas, you have to work with some other libraries as well. In that case, you will going to find out that indexing and slicing will going to play a very vital role. So please make sure that whenever you start with the Python, you should know about indexing and Python, indexing and slicing. And my last question for you guys is, can anyone tell me, in Python, indexing starts from dash? Can you guys fill in the blanks for this dash? In Python, indexing starts from dash. Let's see who will going to answer this. In Python, indexing starts from dash. Zero. Absolutely great. Absolutely great. Right? And we know the reason as well. We know the reason as well, right? So in Python, indexing starts from zero. In other programming languages such as Julia, it starts from one. Okay. So different programming languages has a different structures as well. Okay, cool. And now we are going to talk about some other concepts, that is conditional statements, and we are going to talk about the loops, right? Obviously, we cannot cover entire thing about data structures, variables. There are a lot of other things. There are a lot of plenty other things about variables. What is the naming convention? How to use the variables? What are the different methods to use the variables? But during the shortage of this time for this boot camp, we cannot cover the entire stuff, right? So it is just to give you an idea that how exactly, what exactly that concept is and how to use that, right? Similarly, today we are going to talk about the conditional statement, and apparently we are going to talk about the loops, and we're going to see how to use it and where to use it. Okay, shall we start? Kindly give me a confirmation. Shall we start this? Yes or no? Yes or no? Awesome. And before starting, I hope you guys know the drill. The drill is, kindly don't ask the attendance before 8 o'clock. Second is, okay, cool. Yeah, cool. Yeah, don't ask for any kind of certificates and all that related to the previous boot camps, right? This is a fresh boot camp, so ask only the question that is related with Python. Okay, awesome. And please don't spam as well. Okay. So let's start this session for today. So today we are going to start, and today's session will be very interesting. Believe me, it will be very interesting, right? We are going to ease this with lots of examples, so it will be very easy for you guys to understand the concept. Okay. This is something that we have started out yesterday, right? Today we are going to talk about the next concept in Python, that is known as the conditional statements. That is known as the conditional statements, right? Let me do this. I hope this is visible to all of you, right? Now see over here, there are two things to understand in this conditional statement, which is very simple, right? One is conditional, right? This conditional, the first form of this word will be condition, right? The first form of this word will be condition, right? That means the word conditional is been derived from the word condition, right? And then you are having your statements. Okay, then you are having your statements. So there are two things. One is your condition and next is your statement, right? And if you see the order, first the condition comes up and then the statement comes up, right? It's not like that first we have statement and then we have condition. No, first we have condition and then we have statement. Very simple. Okay, that means if the condition, whenever you are passing any kind of data, it has to go through, for it first has to go through condition, then it will going to pass through the statement. Okay, now as I was telling you that Python is been made so easy, and with relation with the real life example has been superimposed in the Python as well. Yesterday when I was giving you an example about list and dictionary, right? So just like our Oxford dictionary or the real life dictionary that we use, we have a same concept in Python as well. Similarly, in the real life, how a human make a condition, right? That is known as a conditional statements, right? That is known as a conditional statement. Let's take an example. Let me tell you a story. Of, let's say, 5 days or 6 days back, right? So what happened is that I was with my friend. Okay, I listened this story very carefully. Okay, I was with my friend, and we really like watching crickets, and we were watching the cricket World Cup, and suddenly we got to know that India has qualified for semi-finals, and a match has been scheduled between India versus England. England. Okay. This was a match that will going to occur. It has not occurred, but it will going to occur. Let's say it will going to occur day after tomorrow or tomorrow, right? So I am a fan of India, and my friend is a fan of England. Okay, I'm a fan of India, and my friend is a fan of England. So what happened that I told him that see, India will going to win, but my friend told me that no, he argued that no, England will going to win. And this conversation became so hot that it became an argument, right? So what we have done, it's a boy stuff, right? So what we do, we bet. We usually bet, right? Because when we talk, it's totally about our egos and all that, right? We want to win and so on and so forth. So what we have done, we have bet. How exactly we bet is that if I won, if India won, if my team won, right, you have to give me 500 bucks, right? But if England won, I will going to give you 100 bucks, right? But if none of us will going to win, if none of us will going to win, right, or if the match is drawn and so on and so forth, then what will going to happen? No one will going to give anyone not a single rupee. This is a condition. This is how we bet. This is how we make a bet in our real life. Yes or no? Yes or no? If something happen, then you have to proceed with the action. Yes or no? Yeah, loss of 500. Yeah. Okay, sure, cool. Yeah. So this is how we make a condition in a real life, right? We first give a condition, and after that we provide a statement that or the action, right? So how exactly it worked is, so we have made a condition. So let me write my condition. We have written a condition that if if India will going to win the match, if India will going to win the match, if India will going to give the win the match, who will going to give $5? My friend will going to give me $5, right? So he will he will gonna give me, let's say, 500 bucks. Okay. However, if England wins the, okay, if England wins the game, right, then what will going to happen? I have to give him 500 bucks. Simple, right? If there's one more condition over here, if none of them will win the game, if none of them will win the game, then what will going to happen? Then nothing will going to happen. No one will going to give anything. No one will going to give anything. Or instead of writing this, I can also write one statement. Instead of this, I can say otherwise nothing. Otherwise nothing. Can I write this statement as this? If India will going to win, do this. If England will going to win, do this. Otherwise, do nothing, because that's the only last scenario. So instead of writing if none of them will going to win the game, do nothing. Can I write this statement as this? Otherwise equals to nothing. Yes or no? Are you guys getting or not? Because there are only three conditions. There are three outcome that is possible. Either A will going to win, either B will going to win, or they both will not going to win, right? It will not going to happen that they both will going to win at the same time. So there are three situations, right? Three outcomes, right? So let me copy this or cut this from here, and let me put this, right? So this is how, let me put over here, right? So this is how you can see in a real life we make a condition. Okay, this is how we make a condition in a real life, right? Now what we are going to do is we are going to convert this real life scenario into Python code. We are going to convert this scenario, this is a real life example, we are going to convert this scenario into the Python code. Now let's see what exactly is important over here. We need to understand, first of all, whenever you start a condition, it is very important to start the condition with if. Okay. Okay. Whenever you start a condition, it is very very important, you have to start with if. See over here, we are starting if. Whenever we put a condition, right, even though if your parents has to put a condition, they say that if you will going to score 100% in physics or mathematics, then we are going to provide you that. Okay, so the condition always starts with if, right? So you can see this is a condition, and based on that, your action, This is known as your statement. And over here, there's one more thing that you need to keep in mind, that if the condition is not true, the statement will not be applicable. If the condition is not true, the statement is not applicable, right? So over here, the condition is that if you will going to score 100%, what is the statement? We are going to buy you an iPhone, right? But if you're not going to score 100%, so what happened? That particular statement will not going to be valid, right? So this is your condition, this is your statement. This is the first thing that you need to know. Second thing you need to know is condition always starts with if, right? And third thing that you need to know is statement will only going to be valid if the condition is true. Statement will only be going to valid if the condition is true. If the condition is false, then the statement is invalid. Till here, these three rules are clear. Is these three rules are clear to all of you? Kindly give me a confirmation, please. Yes or no? Is these three rules are clear to all of you? Come on. Okay, perfect. Now let's see how we can convert this real life scenario or real life conditional statement into our Python code. So as I've mentioned, we have to start with if, right? Similarly, in Python as well, we have a keyword that is known as if. We have a keyword that is known as if. As soon as you use if, automatically interpreter gets to know that, okay, from here, this user is going to start with your conditional statement. This user is going to start using the concept of conditional statement, right? So let's say, let me say India status. This is a variable that I have created, right? In this variable, I am going to put some value. It could either be win, it could either be lose. Okay, not win or lose. Let me say won or lost, right? So this is the two data that I can put over here. Okay, either if India has won, so I would say India status is won. If India has lost, then I will say India has lost, right? Based on that, I'm going to write the condition over here. That means if the Indian status, if the Indian status, whatsoever status is equal to, right? We are comparing over here. So this equal to means the comparison operator, that we are comparing, that this portion is equal to this, right? Let me write over here won. That means I'm comparing that if the status of India, whatsoever value you are storing in this variable, is equal to this value, that means won, then what you have to do? Then you have to have some statement. I'm going to say print, he will pay 500 bucks, right? Right. Next, if England will going to win, can I write like this, that if Indian status is lost, right? If I want to say England win the game or England has won the game, I can also say that India has lost the game. That apparently mean the same. Yes or no? If I say India has won the game, sorry, if I say England has won the game, or if I say India has lost the game, the meaning is absolutely same. Yes or no? Are you guys getting this? Right? So I can say if Indian status or India status is equal to lost, that means if India has lost, then obviously England has won, right? Okay. Then who will going to pay? I am going to pay. I am going to pay. That means I will pay. I will pay 500 bucks. Right? Now, otherwise, right? So in Python, we use the term else for otherwise. That means if none of the condition is satisfied, or if none of the condition is true, then whatsoever has been printed in else part, just do that. Okay, so else, if none of the condition is true, then you have to print nothing, right? Very simple. Now the next rule over here, next rule in Python is that the condition should start with if. The condition should start with if. But if you are having multiple conditions, if you are having multiple condition, the next condition after the if you will going to have, instead of if, you will going to have elif. Okay, if you are working with a multiple condition, over here there are multiple condition. This is the first condition, this is the second condition, and third condition, right? If you are working with the multiple condition, then you have to make sure the first condition should start with if, and after that, if you have n number of conditions after the first condition, you have to address it with the help of elif, right? Let's say if you have another condition over here, then you have to write elif. You have to write elif and then your condition and then your statement. Is this clear? Is this clear, everyone? Yes or no? Kindly give me a confirmation. Is this clear? Yes or no? Okay, so you can see, if India status, we have won and lost, and we have the condition, right? So now let's take and copy this entire thing from here, and let's take this to our Google Colab to see whether it will going to work or not, right? So let me copy this, come up over here, paste this, and let me do this as 1, right? And let me check for the indentation as well. You can see as soon as I hit enter, automatically there's a space comes up, right? This is known as indentation. This is known as indentation. Indentation means that this statement is a part of this condition. Okay, this statement is a part of this block, right? Okay, is this clear? Is this clear? Okay, so now we say want, India status is want. So what do you think, who will going to pay 500 bucks? Who will going to pay 500 bucks? He or me? Tell me. If the status of India is won, or India won the match, who will going to pay 500 bucks? He or me? He will going to pay. Okay, let's check. Let's check. He will going to pay 500 bucks, right? But in reality, what happened? India has lost the game, right? So India has lost the game. So who has to pay? Who has to pay 500 bucks now? Who has to pay 500 bucks now? I have to pay that. I have to pay that, right? So that means paise barbad. Yes or no? Okay. Getting this or not? Okay. Now, in the third case, if we say the match has been tied, or you can say the match has been draw, then what will going to happen? Then no one will going to pay. No one will going to pay anyone. Yes or no? If I'm going to run this, see, nothing is happening over here, right? So else will going to first check, is any of the condition has been true or false, right? If this is true, then only the statement will be executed. Otherwise, if once the interpreter finds out that this is not true, automatically it will going to jump on to the next condition. It will not even bother to check this statement because the condition is not true. Okay, interpreter will only going to check the statement only and only if the condition is true, right? Then it will going to check, come up over here. If this condition is true, then it will going to go to the statement and do the described action. But over here as well, since it is also false, then it will going to come to the else block, and else says, according to else, that if none of the condition that has been given above is true, then do this or perform this kind of action. Is this clear? Is this clear? Yes or no? Is this clear, everyone? Yes or no? Okay. Okay. So this is a representation of a conditional statement. This is a representation of a conditional statement, right? And now there's one more concept that you should know about it. That is known as nested conditional statement. Nested conditional statement. That means a condition inside a condition. A condition inside a condition. That is known as a nested conditional statement. Okay. Nested conditional statement means a condition or a conditional statement inside a conditional statement. Okay, so in a conditional statement you can have multiple other conditional statement. Let me give you an example for that as well. Let's see, people are asking for attendance, how to get it, what are the criteria of getting the attendance. Let's clear this out, right? Let's say the condition is that if the user, or if you have 100% attendance, right? So let me say attendance, or let me write a variable name that is known as full attendance. Do you have a full attendance? Let me add a default value as true, right? True. Okay, and next is project submission, project underscore submission. Okay, let me add true over here, and based on this I'm going to add a condition. If first of all you have a full attendance, if you have a full attendance, right, then you have to check the next criteria, that if you have done your project submission as well or not, right? If you have done the both, then you will be getting certificate. You will be getting certificate. Let me say print certificate. But else, if you have a full attendance and but you haven't submitted any kind of project, then what will going to happen? You won't be getting any kind of certificate, right? Similarly over here as well, if you don't have a full attendance, so obviously you won't be getting the certificate. So now let's say a student comes up and student says that I do have the 100% attendance, but I haven't submitted the project. So what do you think? What do you think Python interpreter will going to respond according to the given input? Will DevTown going to provide the certificate or not? This is a condition that DevTown has given to you. This is a condition. What do you think will going to be the output? No certificate. No certificate. Let's see this. Let's see this. Of course, Python interpreter is saying that no, you are not going to get the certificate if you have the full attendance, but you haven't submitted any kind of projects, right? Let's say a student comes up and student says that I don't have full attendance, but I do have submitted the project. I don't have full attendance, but I have submitted the project. In that case, what do you think Python interpreter will going to say? Will Python interpreter will going to give you the certificate, or it won't gonna give the certificate? Tell me. Tell me. No certificate. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's ask Python interpreter. What do you think? So Python interpreter says no certificate. I'm sorry. Even though if you have submitted the project but you don't have full attendance, I'm sorry, you're not going to get the certificate, right? But now if someone comes up, so obviously that case you are not going to cover where you don't have full attendance, or you haven't have submitted any kind of project, so obviously it will be no certificate only, right? But now a condition comes up, an extraordinary student comes up and he or she is saying that, I do have a full attendance and I have submitted the project. Then what do you think will going to happen? Then what do you think Python interpreter will going to do? Then what do you think Python interpreter will going to do? So Python interpreter will going to say that Python interpreter khush hua, and it will going to provide you the certificate, right? So based on this learning, I hope that now everyone's doubt is clear, right? If your doubt is not clear, kindly go and try to run this over and over again, so your doubt will be getting clear. Is this clear? Yes or no? Okay, right? So if you see over here, we have a condition inside a condition. See, this is a condition, right? If I remove this is a condition, and this is also a condition, right? This is also a condition. So now a condition inside a condition, because you can see the indentation. That means this indentation, it tells us that this entire block belongs to this condition, right? This is a perfect example of nested loop. This is a perfect example of nested conditional statement. A conditional statement inside a conditional statement. Is this clear, everyone? Is this clear, everyone? Yes or no? Is this clear, everyone? I hope you have got this. Okay. Okay. Perfect. So this is how you can start working with the conditional statements. Okay. Now let's move on to the next concept. Okay. Now let's move on to the next concept that is known as loops. That is known as loops, and it is very, 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 very important and absolutely a lifesaver for you. Whenever you are coding, absolutely a lifesaver for you. But at the same time, it is a memory killer as well, many a times, right? If you're overusing this is a memory killer. Okay. Now, before introducing you about the loops, I want to ask again to all of you. Anyone over here is a Marvel fan? Anyone over here is a Marvel fan? Yes or no? Let's see who are Marvel fan over here. We are going to use all this real life scenario example to understand our Python concept. Okay, that's how we are going to make it. Okay, we're not going to talk about the bookish language. Okay. Okay, some people are saying Iron Man is the favorite, Thor is the favorite. Okay, I believe someone is having uh Iron Man, some is having the Thor and all that. But do you know this guy? I'm going to show you a picture. I'm going to show you a picture, and immediately you have to respond that what exactly is that movie? From what movie that scene is going it has been taken from? Can you guys tell me that? Will you gonna help me out in that? Yes or no? I am going to show you a scene and you have to tell me the movie name. Will you gonna do that? Come on, fast. Yes or no? Okay. Let's see who will going to tell it fast. Let's see who will going to tell it fast. And the scene is this. Let's see who will going to tell. What exactly is the movie name? What's the movie name and who is the character over here? Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange. Okay. Cool. Awesome. And apparently, can anyone tell me the villain name? What exactly is the name of this villain? Is this Groot? Is this Groot in the God mode? It's a Dormammu. Exactly, it's a Dormammu. Exactly. So now let's understand loops based on this example. Let's understand loops based on this example only, right? If I have to elaborate you the scene, if you remember, what happened is that Doctor Strange decided to go to Dormammu to bargain, right? But before going to bargain to Dormammu, what he has done is he has used the time stone. He has used the time stone. And what was happening that every time he appeared in front of Dormammu, killed Dormammu killed Doctor Strange. But as as soon as Dr. Strange has been getting killed, again and again the same scenario is acting over and over again. Again, Dr. Strange comes up and tells that, "Hey, Dormammu, I am here to bargain." And then Dormammu again kills him. Then again, Dr. Strange comes up with the same dialogue, and everything was going on and on and on. What was that actually? What was that actually? Can anyone tell me? What was that? He was getting killed, and again, the same scenario is repeating. What was that? Okay. Still not got time loop exactly, guys. It was the time loop. Yes or no? Yes or no? Right? So Doctor Strange has captured Dormammu in a time loop, right? And we have seen that what is happening that every time Dormammu is killing Doctor Strange, again and again the same scene is presented to us, right? That is what loop is. That is what loops is. That goes on and on and on and on unless and until you tell it to stop. That is known as a loop. Getting this? Getting this concept? Yes or no? Are you guys getting this concept? Yes or no? Okay. Similarly, if you talk about a race track, let's say this is a race track, motorcycle race track like this. This is a starting point, and hence this is a stopping point as well, right? And if you have ever seen a racing, any kind of racing for Formula One or motorcycle racing, you must have seen there is a thing that is known as a lap. There is a thing that is known as a lap. That means if a bike rider starts from here and it will going to it will going to cover the entire ground and reach to the stopping point automatically. That is known as one lap. Yes or no? And that's how the second lap, third lap, fourth lap, and so on and so forth. Yes or no? Right? So this is loop. Loop is something that goes on and on and on. Okay? Loop is something that goes on and on and on. Okay? Is this clear? Till here, is this clear? Are you guys getting this or not? Kindly give me a confirmation, please. Are you guys getting this concept or not? Okay? Okay, perfect. So now the concept of loop has came out in such a way is that we have to we have to use whenever you are doing the repeated task, or whenever you are doing a task, whenever you are doing a particular task again, right? And you know that I have to do this over 10 times or 500 times and so 104, right? So in that case, what you do is you can easily lower down the effort and you can use the loop. Just let me give you an example that if you have ever been a school student, if you have ever been a school student, you guys can relate to this. You must have seen that many a time you're talking to your friend and your teacher catches you, right? And as a punishment, your teacher says that write down the statement that I will not talk in class. I will not talk in class 1,000 times. Ever happens to you? Ever happened this with you? Yes or no? Your teacher has caught you and your friends talking, and she or he will going to give you the task that write this. I will not talk in class or any kind of statement 1,000 times. Right? Yes or no? Right? The most difficult way or the most common ways that you will going to write I will not talk to in class, then you will again going to write the same thing, I will not talk to in class and I will not talk to in class, and so on and so forth, like this, till 100, till 1,000 times, right? Another very simple approach is just write this once, I will not talk in class, and go to your teacher and tell them that okay, I have written this once, kindly read it 1,000 times. That's the best ever. That's the most fastest solution. Yes or no? Yes or no? Even though if I'm providing you 1,000 lines, right? If you want to check it, obviously we're going to read it. So why not let me write it once, read it 100 times or 1,000 times? That is also one solution, right? And that's the most fastest solution, right? So in that case, what you can say? Student rock, teacher shock, like that. Yes or no? Okay. So based on this only, the concept of loop has been taken from. So loop says that if you're doing some task multiple times, or if you're doing the same task multiple times, so what you can do is just do it once, and repeat it the times you want to do it. Very simple way. I hope the concept of loop is clear. Yes or no? I hope the concept of loop is clear to all of you, right? Something that repeats. Okay, kindly give me a confirmation. Just like we have here, right? We are in a loop. We're actually in a loop, guys, right? So every year, when it ends from December, when it ends at December 31st, automatically Jan 1st will going to appear. So it's a loop only, right? So now what happened is that in Python I'm talking about, there are two kind of loops. Okay, there are two kind of loops in Python. Okay, first is your for loop, right? And second is your while loop. Okay, now in different programming languages, there is one other loop as well, that is known as do while loop. Okay, always remember, this is just for a general knowledge, that you should know that we have this kind of loop as well that exists, right? If you go to Java, if you go to C, and so on and so forth, you will going to find out that there is also a third kind of loop that exists, that is known as do while, right? However, in Python it is being made very simple. That's why we have only two loops, that is your for loop, and next is your while loop. Okay, so always remember this thing, that in Python we have only two loops, that is for loop and while loop. We don't have the concept of do while. These are the trick question, guys, right? These are the trick question that has been asked in the interview. So make sure about that. In Python, we have only two loops. That is your for loop, while loop, but we don't have do while in Python. Okay, perfect. Now let's understand. Now the question arises is okay. We have two loops. Okay, that's perfectly fine, but where exactly we have to use this loop? For an example, let's say I want to use a loop, right? Then how can I know that which loop I should go with? Should I go with for loop or I should go with while loop? Who will going to tell me? So let's understand the difference between the for loop and while loop, right? Based on that, we are going to see how to use it and when to use it. Okay. Now you need to make sure about one more thing, that let's say it's totally dependent upon the conditions, right? Let's say this is a ground, this is a ground, right? So in this ground, this is the starting point, and hence since it's a ground, okay, or it's in a round shape or circle shape, we're going to say that it's the starting point and it's the ending point, right? Now what you are going to do is you are having an athlete at standing at the starting end, right? You're having an athlete at the starting end, right? Now, when you know that how many times you want your loop to run, in that case you will going to use the for loop. Listen it very carefully. When you know how many times you want your loop to run, you will going to use for loop. That means you will going to tell your athlete that run 4 times, run 5 times, or make 4 laps or 5 laps, or take 4 or 5 rounds of this ground. When you know that how many times you have to run, or how many times you have to run your loop, in that case the best loop to use is your for loop. Is this clear? Is this clear? Yes or no? Is this clear? Okay. Now, when we talk about while loop, now see the statement. Now I'm telling the athlete that make the round of take as many round as you can of this particular ground, until and unless you get tired. Until and unless you get tired. Now see over here. I'm not telling the I'm not telling the how many times you have to run. Instead, I am giving a condition. I am giving a condition that run as many round as you want or as you can, until and unless you get tired. That means as soon as you get tired, you can stop. So it means that a particular athlete can stop, no, can feel tired, can get tired, or can be feeling tired. Let's say after 2 rounds, then he can stop. After 5 rounds, he might be feeling tired, then he can stop at that as well, right? So over here in while loop, you don't provide the number, the times the loop will going to run. Instead, you will going to provide the condition. If the condition is true, your loop will going to run until and unless your condition becomes false. Whereas in your for loop, your loop will going to run the number of times you will going to tell the loop to run. Is this clear? Is this clear, everyone? Yes or no? Is this clear, everyone? Yes or no? Okay. So, in conclusion, you have to use for loop when you know how many times you want your loop to run, right? You will going to use a for loop when you want your loop to stop based on a condition. Okay, always remember these two things, right? This is also an interview question that has been asked, the difference between for loop and while loop, right? So let's see the implementation and how we can implement that in Python, right? So now again, over here when we were starting with the conditional statement, we have a keyword of if that will going to indicate or tell the Python interpreter that from here this user is going to start the conditional statement, right? So if you're using a for loop, right? So you have a keyword known as for to tell the Python interpreter that okay, from here the person is going to use the for loop, right? So let me write a statement over here. Let's say like this. Okay, let me explain you what I have written over here. This for is a keyword that tells the interpreter that from here the for loop is being used, right? This I, this I over here is a variable. This I over here is a variable. Okay. Similarly, we have var and whatsoever, right? Then we have a range function. Then we have a range function, right? It is very simple. It is very simple. This range is very, very simple, right? Let's say, when we let's say we want to purchase a mobile phone, right? We want to purchase a mobile phone, right? But we go to a shop and shopkeeper asks that what exactly is your range. That range means your budget. That means you say that my maximum range is 30K. That means after 30K I cannot go. Beyond 30K I cannot go. My maximum range is 30K. Let's say my minimum range is let's say 0K. That means between 0K to 30K, if any mobile falls under this range, I can purchase it. Right? Similarly, the concept has been taken from here. Range zero, in this we can see this a range is a function, and when we say zero, that's the starting value. Then your stopping value, that means when do you want it to stop. Okay, when do you want to stop, that means whatsoever number that are coming between this range, kindly show us. That means between 0 to 5, what are the numbers that will going to come up? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. These are the numbers that will going to come between 0 to 5. Yes or no? Right? If I say my budget is 0K to 30K, that means 1K is also coming between this range, 2K is also coming between this range, right? Similarly, the starting value and the ending value, right? Starting value is my 0 and ending value is my 5. And what's so other value that comes between this range, I'm going to provide it, right? But now, according to the Python rule, this range function, in this range function, only the starting value is inclusive, whereas the ending value is exclusive. Please understand this and hear this again. The starting value is inclusive. That means you will going to include the starting value. You will going to include the starting value. But the ending value is exclusive. That means you will not going to include the starting value. So if you say the range 0 to 4, so the number that will going to come between 0 to 4 will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Over here 0 is there because 0 is inclusive. That's the starting value. We don't have 5 because 5 is the ending value and that is exclusive. That's the rule. Is this clear? Is this clear? Yes or no? Is this clear, everyone? Yes or no? Okay. Now, now, when we say in range, now what we're going to happen is that one by one, these values will be assigned to a variable, right? In the first iteration, or in the first loop, what will going to happen is variable will going to have the value of the variable will going to have the first value as 0, right? Right, and then the action will be performed. When this action is been executed, now what happened? Again the loop will going to run. In the next iteration, the value of variable should be 1, right? So at first it was 0, right? Then the second iteration it will be 1, then next iteration it will be 2, and so on and so forth. So let me show you, and let me show you the variable as well. Let me print the variable. So now see, hello world and the value of the variable. So in the first iteration, the value of the variable becomes 0, right? In the second iteration, the value of variable become 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you can see fifth has not been printed because fifth is the stopping value. Fifth is the stopping value, which is exclusive, right? If you say that I want to include 5 as well, so then what you have to do? Plus 1. The concept of plus 1 will be there if you want the ending value to be inclusive as well. You say that I want to include 5 as well, then add plus 1, right? So now if I'm going to run this, now see, we have the value till 5. Are you guys getting this? Are you guys getting this? Yes or no? Okay, so see over here I'm telling the loop that how many times you have to run. You have to run approximately 6 times. you have to run 6 times, right? That's why we are using for loop. When you know how many times you have to make your loop run, in that case you can easily use for loop, right? So see over here, I'm giving a range that you have to run 5 times, 6 times, 10 times, and so on and so forth, right? This is the for loop implementation. Next is that if you want to work with while loop, then what happened, that again we have a keyword that is known as while. Okay, then the simple syntax of while loop is condition over here, and followed by the statement, right? So let's say we have a variable as count is equals to 0, right? We are going to, let me run this, and I'm going to write a while loop, and I'm going to provide a condition. The condition is count equals to, or let's say count, yeah, count is equals to 0, print hello world, right? So is this condition true or false? Tell me, is this condition true or false? Is this condition true or false? It is true. Now what will going to happen is, as soon as I'm going to execute this, the interpreter will going to come up and say that, is this condition true? It says yes. Then what will going to happen? It will going to execute the statement. Again, it will going to come up and check, is this true? It will going to say yes, it is true. Then it will going to print the statement. Again, it will going to come up and check. So that what will going to happen? It will going to create an infinite loop. It will going to create an infinite loop that will going to run till the last. That means we're going to go on and on and on and on, right? Let's see this. If I'm going to execute this now, see, you can see interpreter is still running. Interpreter is still running, right? It is consuming a lot of memory. If I show you over here, right, it is consuming a lot of memory, and you can see interpreter is still going on and on and on, and it is printing hello world. See, it is printing hello world on and on and on, because every time, because the condition over here is getting satisfied every time. So this is an example of an infinite loop. This is an example of an infinite loop. Let me stop this, otherwise it will going to eat up all my memory, right? Now if I want to make sure that I won't going to end it, again you have to provide, you can work on this. Let's say I want to say that no, I can provide a condition, copy this, paste it, right? Let's say the condition is, if count is greater than 10, print hello world. If count is greater than 10, print hello world, right? Let's say let's make it 15, right? Let's run this, and let me add a condition over here, count equals to 1, right? Or in a more simplified way, let me write over here, count minus 1, right? So is this condition true or false? Is this condition true or false? It is true. Now what will going to happen? As a result, what we are going to see, we are going, it is true. Automatically, hello world will be printed, right? Next, as soon as this will going to print it, interpreter will going to come up and says that we are setting a new value for the count. The new value of the count variable will be the current value minus 1. The current value is 15. 15 minus 1 is 14. So the new value of this count will be 14, right? So let me print the value of count for you as well, right? Again, it will going to check that whether 14 is greater than 10. It will going to say yes, it is greater. Then again hello world will be printed, and the new value will be 13, and so on and on. It will going to go on until and unless a stage will going to come up, the value of count will be equal to the value given. And always remember that no value, okay, no value can be greater, sorry, not no value, no integer value can be greater than or equal to itself. No integer value can be greater than or lesser than itself. You cannot say 10 is greater than 10. You cannot say 40 is lesser than 40. You cannot say that. Yes or no? Yes or no? Are you guys getting this? Okay. So as soon as the value over here becomes 10, Now what will going to happen? The statement will going to become false. So we will be getting the value of count as 15. We are going to get the value of count as 15, 14, 13, 12, and 11. As soon as the value of count becomes 10, it will going to say that no, this is false, so it will not going to execute it. So we are going to get from 15 till 11. So now see this. If you are going to run this, now see 15, 14, 13, 12, and 11. 5 times it has run. And now if I show you the value of count as well, now see why it has not ran again. See the value of count because it is 10. And we know that no integer value can be greater than or lesser than itself. That's why the condition becomes false. When we say 10 is greater than 10, it is false. And hence our loop has stopped. Is this clear? Is this clear? Okay. Now, my final question to you guys is that which loop do you think Dr. Strange is using over here? Is it a for loop or is it a while loop? Which loop is Dr. Strange using in this scene? Is it a for loop or a while loop? Let's see who have got this concept clearly. It's a while loop. Wonderful, guys. It's a while loop because over here there's a condition. This is an infinite loop, and the condition was that you have to go on and on and on unless and until Dormammu will going to bargain it. Okay, as soon as Dormammu bargains, the loop has ended. So it was a perfect example of a while loop, right? So this is what for loop is, this is what while loop is, this is what you know conditional statement is all about, right? But there are a lot of other concepts. This is just a beginning that I'm telling you, but there are a lot of other concept of conditional statements. There are other methods that you can use in conditional statements. There are other things in loops and so on and so forth, right? But due to the time constraint we cannot cover all of them, right? So this is just a basic to let you know how the loops works, how the conditional statement works, what are the different types of loops that we have, and what's the difference between the for loop and while loop and when to use it. Okay, so that's all for today. Tomorrow we are going to we are going to consume some portion to talk about functions, right? And we are going to take a very small project that we can do. We can make either we're gonna make a snake water gun game or rock paper scissors game, or we are going to talk that about tomorrow itself, right? So that's all for today. So let me provide you the attendance link. The moment you all must be waiting for. Let me check whether this is. Let me this on. Okay, perfect. So here you go with the attendance form. Okay, and if anyone wants to connect with me, they can connect with me on LinkedIn. Okay, so now it's the time for questions. If you have any, kindly shoot them up. If you have any questions, any doubt, kindly shoot that up in the chat section itself. I like that comment, Sumesh. Right? I'm struggling in data structure and algorithms. Will it affect my journey in data analysis? See, data structure is important, right? But it's totally depend. In data analysis, it will not going to hinder. Definitely, it will not going to affect, and it will not going to hinder in your data analysis journey. But right, but you need to have a basic understanding. What are the arrays? What are the linked lists, and so on and so forth. Right? If you have that, well and good. Okay, but it will not going to hinder. Which domain needs more maths, ML or DS? See, data science is a subdomain. You cannot compare data science with machine learning. Sorry, machine learning is a subdomain of data science. You cannot compare machine learning with DS. This is not a perfect comparison. Okay? Is this clear? Is this clear? You cannot compare machine learning with data science. Either compare machine learning with DL, or you can compare machine learning with data analysis. In that case, you can say that, yeah, maths is required. But in the data science, it is important. Maths is very important in the field of data science. If you are going with data analysis, math is needed very less. If you're going in machine learning, math is needed more. If you're going with deep learning, math is being used in a humongous manner, right? So that's how we distribute the level. Okay, Yeah, I will be guiding you for the project, right? Tomorrow I'll be going to demonstrate a single project, and day after tomorrow I'm going to give you a project that you have to submit. Okay. For DS, you have to complete ML, right? See, the data science is not some field that you can start with one domain and then you complete another domain. No, you need to gain an experience in that, right? After doing machine learning, you can be a data scientist, but you need to not only understand about machine learning, you have to understand about the business perspective as well. Okay, so data science is a subdomain, and definitely if you want to jump into the field of data science, then machine learning is also required or one of the requirement. Okay, so this is Python basics. Will we jump into data science tomorrow? No, this entire session has been related to Python only. Okay, this entire session is related to Python only. You cannot complete data science in just 7 days or one day or so on and so forth, right? You cannot do that. So we need a proper C++ Java DSA bootcamp course from you, sir. Please, please. Okay. Uh, I think we already have a DSA bootcamp session related to C++ and Java and DSA, I believe, right? But if you want me to take that, I'm more happy to take it. Okay. Obviously, I'm going to use better example to explain you. Okay, don't worry. Only Python is better for job? No. See, only a specific programming language is not sufficient for a job. Apart from that, you need to know about the frameworks related to those programming language. You need to know about the libraries. You need to build a project, right? Alone, programming language alone is not sufficient. Either it could be Java, it could be C++, or it could be Python. So apart from that, you need to learn about different other concept as well, right? Is math is important for AI/ML? Of course, obviously, maths is the heart. Maths is the heart for AI and ML. You don't know coding, well and good. You don't have a BTech degree or engineering degree, well and good. You can still start with AI, ML, or data science. But you cannot neglect maths. Okay, maths is the heart of data science. Okay. Anyone else? Any more doubt? So this course is intro to DS, so we will cover DS, right? Or only Python. If you see over here, it's written intro to data science using Python. Don't miss the last portion using Python. Okay, I have a goal in front, have everything in front of me. How to reach it? I want to get comfortable. I'm not getting that question. Please elaborate that, please. So yesterday's form link didn't work for me, but it worked for me. What kind of question is this? It didn't work for you and then it worked for you. I'm not getting that. Is project? No, project is very basic. See, whatsoever you have learned, right, so far in Python in this bootcamp, based on those knowledge only, you will be having that particular project. Okay. Anything else? Best language for DSA, C and C++. Although you can go with Java or Python, but best language is C and C++. There is no such thing about best language, but mostly in industry people prefer C and C++ only for DSA. So that's the norm. So if you want to go, you can follow that as well. What is the application of data science in medical or pharma? It let me tell you, in medical section, right, data science is playing a very vital role, right? Detection of cancer, detection of stones, doing a lot of therapies and all that. Data science is at the greatest level in, it is playing a vital role in the field of insurance, and it is playing the a lot of vital role in the field of hospitality, in the medical role, and in the finance role. Okay, so data science is at its peaks. They're using biomedicals, and all of them are using data science. Okay. Anything else? Any more doubt? Okay. The last time I'm putting the link. So, and after that we can conclude this call. Okay. So this is the this, and let me put that. Okay. For web development, which language we need to learn? For web development, it depends. If you want to go with backend, you can either go with Python, or you can go with Node.js. If you want to go in front end, you can go with no, you can start with HTML and CSS, then go with JavaScript, and then any other framework of JavaScript that is your, among, you can go with Angular, React, or Vue.js. If you ask me, I would suggest you to go with React. that is way more popular. Okay, as a fresher, only Python is enough for getting job? No, only Python is not enough, or only any kind of programming language is not enough. Apart from a programming language, you need to understand about the different frameworks that you can work on with that programming language, and different libraries to operate. Right, it is not only for Python, it is all for all. Okay, anything else? Sir, in coming years, robo will replace doctors. Ye- so the answer is partially. Answer is partially. Okay, but still, the con of all this robos and artificial intelligence is that they need at least a human being for the supervision, right? So you can say the amount of doctors will going to the job of doctors will be less in the upcoming time, but not existent. It will not going to exist. Sorry, it will not going to extinct, but the amount will going to lower down. A lot of people are working in this fields and all that. How many projects are needed for job position? No, it's totally not dependent on that. This is absolutely a irrelevant question, that how many projects is been needed for job position. Okay, you can get a job by doing one project also, you can get a job by doing 100 projects also, and you cannot get a job even if you have done 1000 projects, right? It's totally dependent upon your skill set. It's totally dependent upon your what kind of projects you are aiming for. Okay, what type of framework in languages you are saying? Let's say in Python, right? With the help of Python, you want to build a website. So you have to understand the web framework about Python. That is your Flask and Django. You want to go with a mobile application. You say that I want to create mobile apps in iOS and Android using Python. Then you have to go with the Kiwi library, right? If you say that I want to go with automation and all that. So there are a lot of frameworks and so on and so forth. Is this clear? Is image processing linked with ML? No, image processing is linked with deep learning, right? And specifically, it comes under the section of computer vision, or you can say CNN. That is a convolutional neural network. Image processing is just to find out the information from a particular images, right? If you have Google lenses, you have seen, right, extracting the informations and all that, and process that those images out, right? Or you can see some kind of application that says that give me a blurry picture, and I'm going to in return I'm going to give you no more clear picture of that blurry picture. That is image processing. Okay, and that's a part of deep learning. Okay, not machine learning. Anything else? Okay, I think that's all for today, guys, right? In today's world, only one skill is enough to get placed. It is, but you have to make sure that you are mastered in that. That's everything comes with a condition. Okay, if you are mastered in one skills perfectly, then yes, you can get that. Okay, you can easily survive. Perfect. So that's how we can conclude this call. I hope everyone must have got today's session interesting, and it was really interesting for you guys to adapt it. Okay, let's meet tomorrow. I've given that, and let me give you that as well. Cool. Okay, guys, thank you so much, and enjoy your day, enjoy your evening. Let's meet tomorrow. Till then, have a great time ahead, and take care. Bye bye. See you all. Good night.